start off by going back to last weekend for a little bit. Saturday night, Sunday morning, and then the game itself. How bizarre was that for you to try and put a plan together and then call the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that I don't think any of us will ever hopefully go through that again. I mean, we were kind of informed late afternoon Saturday that we were going to have no quarterback, so we whittled together a wildcat type offense and put in a quarterback, and then went out and tried to execute. We had long walkthroughs, and so it was made for a long evening. And I thought it just made for a tough situation, but we put that in. That's in the past. That's in the rearview, and we're moving forward.
And one more from me, facing the Chiefs with Tyrann Mathieu. How unique of a player is he in terms of his skill set and how they can move him around?
Yeah, he's a good player. Whether he's pressuring, whether he's covering, whether he's involved in making tackles in the run game, he can do everything. And he's got great instincts. I think that's what makes him unique. And he's an outstanding playmaker.
Next one, Jeff.
Pat, I just want to, I don't want to make you dive into last week again, but just on a degree of difficulty, just sort of what Kendall Hinton was asked to do last week.
Yeah, huge. I mean, a couple of days prior to that, he was playing, secondary on the scout team. So very difficult. But he had a quarterback background, probably more than anybody that we had on the roster. And so I was proud of the way he went in there and competed. And I think he should be proud of that as well. But what we asked him to do is something that you, in most normal situations, you wouldn't ask somebody to do. And I was sort of proud of how I was very proud of how he handled it.
And then just in a general level, you've been around Andy a lot. In terms of gut feel and then the analytics information you have, how much of your play calling still includes some gut feel as opposed to just the numbers?
Yeah, I think we all do that. I think you look back on the last time we played them. We were able to move the ball, but we fell victim to the turnover, and I think that's what got us. And so then that skews the game in a way that nobody likes to play against a really good team like them. But there is analytics involved with what we do. We're always aware of what we're doing under center, in the gun, in groupings, positions on the field. So we're all aware of that. But we certainly have to do the things our players can do and call plays that make sense for us. And I think that's what we all try to do.
Thanks, Troy.
Pat, appreciate the time. How do you think Drew has handled it now, kind of a few days away from, being ruled ineligible? And do you have to talk to him about not putting too much on his shoulders, going back home after missing a game? Obviously he wasn't, that was an embarrassing situation for him. Do you talk to him any extra kind of as a, just almost like a fatherly figure that make sure to control your emotions here? Don't try to do too much as you get back in the lineup?
No, I think he was eager to get going again. I think it was a tough situation for all those guys being deemed out. They were, unfortunately, what they were doing we didn't keep the protocols in mind. They were working on a Tuesday like they would normally do, and proud of them for that. But there's protocols that we have to follow, and it was, there were rules that were broken. And so, I think, I think he's glad to be back out there. I think he's so far he's had a good week of preparation, and I think he'll just look forward to playing. I don't know about that whole putting too much pressure on himself thing. I think he's just got to do his job.
Next one, Brandon.
Coach, we saw where your son Kyle is in town and may or may not be joining the organization. When you guys played the Titans, I had asked Vic about Jarrell Casey and kind of institutional knowledge or knowledge of the roster on both sides and what they do. He said, well, unless it's a quarterback, you're not going to really gain that much, although we did ask Jarrell questions. Kyle was with the Chiefs all last year. You've been with Andy a lot. Can Kyle give you anything that that you don't already know or see in terms of stuff that they do, or are we making more out of that, him being here this week as a coincidence?
Yeah, I think you're making way more out of that than there is. I mean, I was with Andy for a very long time. Obviously, his offense has grown since the time we were together, with the way teams play offense now, But I don't put too much stock in that. I think as time goes on, things change, and, it comes down to running and passing. And, unless you know that they're going to run it or they're going to pass it, I mean, really, what's the difference, And so, and the same goes for any team. I think sometimes people make too much out of that. A guy that was on a team prior, it's not like you depose him, tell me everything. And that's just not, just from my experience, that's just not the way things function. And, I don't think there's anything that, any of the knowledge that he has that is going to help us in any way.
Yeah, Coach, I heard this new quarterback had a heck of an upbringing. You know anything about that, or?
No, questionable parents, I would say. But yeah, no, he's hey, listen, he's not on the team. He's kind of going through the protocol stuff right now. It's just, I think what happened last weekend. And so there's multiple days of this stuff now as you go through the COVID stuff. So, we're going to try to do it. You saw yesterday we kept Bortles away, so we're going to try to do it with the guys that we have at this point. But yeah, no, I'm certainly proud of him as a young man. He's went to Vanderbilt and set a bunch of passing records, got his degree. Most recently, he's in graduate school at Vanderbilt, getting his grad degree, and was helping coach the team. And sadly, the day I think that he got called from here was the day that Derek Mason at Vanderbilt got released. So there's a lot going on for lots of people during this time of year, and he's no different.
Time for a few more. Next one, Eric.
Hey, Pat, for a quarterback, what's the difference in facing pressure inside from a guy like Chris Jones versus on the outside from a guy like Frank Clark? Just, do you have to adjust differently to those different types of pressure?
Yeah, I think the hardest pressure for a quarterback is when it's in his face, because they're taught to kind of embrace the pocket and step up. So, when a team can get pushed in the middle, that's the tough part. I think we always expect pressure from the edges. That's why the pockets are built like they are. But when you don't have the ability to step up, I think that's the biggest challenge for a quarterback.
Next one, Andrew Mason.
Hey, Pat, what do you want to see Drew Lock do down the stretch here in his next 5 games to kind of build off the steps he took forward in that Miami game?
Yeah, I think each week he's just got to get better. I think, in everything that he does, and I think, as he gets more and more consistent with everything that he does, then, it'll show itself. And I think that's where he's at. He's a young player. He's kind of a rookie plus player right now, and this is a tough league. You get challenged every week, and you got to step up to it and play well and improve, especially at the stage of his career that he is.
Final two, Arnie, then George.
Hey, Pat, was there anything you saw in Garett when you first got here that led you to believe he had the ingredients to have this sort of a bounce back season? I know you weren't here when he had his issues with all the penalties, but was there anything that could kind of foretell that he was going to have this kind of a jump this season?
No, I just think he's played extremely well. He's pass blocked well, he's run blocked well. Obviously, I'm happy for him. He was rewarded with a long-term deal. So the people here feel the same way. And listen, he's a tough, competitive guy. And I think that's That's necessary if you're going to play this game, and he's displayed that to me all along.
Final one, George.
Yeah, Pat, you talked a little bit about, last Sunday. Do you kind of just throw that tape almost away, or is there anything you can take away from that? And with the way Royce played, do you think you could see maybe him playing a little bit more, especially with Phillip maybe being a little dinged up?
Yeah, I mean, Royce is always going to be, in the equation for us, and he did do a good job. He got in there and played quarterback and did a good job for us, running the ball as well. So, no, I mean, we watched the tape. We try to take away from it. We were running the ball and running some base concepts just from a Wildcat format from the most part. So there's things to we were forced to do some of those things, and some of the things we did, I feel are good. And so who knows, those things could pop up now periodically, having been forced to do that in a real game last week.
Hey, Coach, how important is continuity on a special teams unit? You look at the Chiefs, and they've had continuity for so long. How important is that for a unit?
It's important, especially on your punt unit. It's no different than an offensive line. You're going to get pressured every single play. You're going to get twists every play. And, guys that work together, that helps. But the reality is, Zach, on all units and special teams, there is really no continuity. There's few teams. Kansas City's a team that's been very, very healthy. Their punt team is their punt team from the Super Bowl. But it's rare. It's going to bite all of us, and it's bit us this year. But continuity is nice, on every single unit. There's no question about it, especially if the continuity is good. Good players. You want to continue with those guys.
Next one, Troy.
Tom, when you face a team like the Chiefs, who 19-1 their last 20, they're defending champs, do you see special teams as a chance maybe we can win in the margins, where you're trying to close the gap? Do you approach it that way? That hey, it's like you sneak a run in baseball, whatever. Do you see it as a way? Hey, we win in the margins here. This is a way maybe to bring them closer to us.
No question, Troy. If we're going to win this game, we have to win special teams. We have to win field position. We have to make a big play. There is no question about that. Their record is what they've earned. And for us to win this game, we have to do our part, but we have to make a big play. We have to win field position, and we have to win this phase of the game for us to have a chance to win.
Next one, Mike Kliss.
Yeah, Coach, Dave Tobe of the Chiefs, he was a head coach candidate here a few years ago. So pretty highly regarded. What is it about his special teams? What's he known for in special team circles?
They're good really at everything, Mike, but, throughout the years, naturally, Devin Hester's, Tyreek Hill's, great returners, great returns production. But he's been really good at everything, but that's the one thing that he has set himself apart from, in terms of within the special team circle is always had great returners, always had a great return game. And personally, I think his coverage game is very good also.
Next one, Ryan.
Hey, Tom, little off topic. Rigoberto Sanchez had his cancer surgery the other day. What was it like coaching him as a rookie, and how much pride have you taken in his success as a punter?
The success after I left, that's on Bubba. Bubba does a great job with him, but Rigo's a great man. My heart's with him. He's going to win this thing, and there's no question about it. He's going to recover. He can be better than ever. But to answer your first question, coaching him was awesome. He did every single thing you asked him to do, and he did it correct. He could hit edges. He could come up with a new onside kick. He could hit it because he just worked at it. But this is a guy that wins on the field. He's going to win. He's going to beat cancer. He's going to cover that kick, and he's going to be just fine. But he just did everything right. And when he couldn't do something, he never ever let that become his identity. His identity became exactly what we wanted him to do. He just worked through it.
Thanks.
Final two, Brandon and Kyle.
Coach, I guess two for you. The first is with Bryce now on IR. If Spence isn't back, who is after KJ? Who's the next punt returner if you needed to use another punt return?
Deshaun Hamilton. Feel comfortable with him. He did it as a rookie back in 18. I'm aging now a little bit.
And then do you scratch your head a bit that the idea that if Hardman's down, and I guess they use Pringle plenty in kick return, but that they have Pringle and then Tyreek Hill in their back pocket if the Chiefs need either the big return or because those guys can't go, that's the alternative is that guy?
You know, they're all very, very good. You go into that game, and it doesn't matter who's back there. The biggest thing is we got to wrap up. We got to tackle. We got to do a better job from a kick return standpoint of just doing simply our job. You know, it's like being on a 2-lane road. When you go past somebody, you got to get back in your lane. You know, and we learned that lesson last time. We had 7 guys in the same lane. That's a wreck waiting to happen. So it doesn't matter who's back there. You know, we respect them all. Tyreek, Miko, Pring, you know, they got other players that they've shown back there already this year. And we got to go do our jobs. We got to tackle. You got to win one-on-ones. And we got to go into this game and be the aggressor, you know, in all phases and win it. You got to win this phase for us to win the game. You know, and we have to prepare this week as if it's a Super Bowl. Do that every single week because eventually it will be. And that's the attitude that this group has to have. They got to grow up and we got to mature, and they're starting to. But it can't be, hey, we'll get it next week, coach. It happens today. It's going to happen tomorrow. And that's how we have to prepare.
Kyle, finish.
Hey, Tom, of the practice squad guys who have been called up on a weekly basis, you know, fill in on special teams or whatnot, who has really impressed you, particularly over the last 3-4 games?
You know, the 2 guys that have been up for those games have been Alijah and Josh that have been impressive. You know, Josh was with us a year ago. I don't consider Josh a practice squad player. Two weeks ago, he was our special teams captain. You know, so it's a different world. The COVID world is different. Your captain of your special teams is off your practice squad. And that's a tribute to him. It's a tribute to what he's accomplished. Last week, Alijah Holder's a corner. He got thrown in as a PP. You know, PPs in this league are your most important players, and he handled it like it was nothing. You know, there was no wimp in his voice, you know, things like that. So both these guys are mature and they're confident in themselves. And I think that we all know that once you trust yourself, then you'll earn the next letter in the word trust, you know, that S for us. And those guys have earned that. You know, they come out and they practice like that. They prepare like that. So proud of those 2 guys. Puma came up off practice squad last week, played more on teams, did a good job on punt. He was a starter for us for 16 games last week. Kickoff return, we didn't get any. So I can't really judge what he did there.